Prelims start at noon Eastern on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. Janae and Golick Jr.
The Baltimore Ravens are a team who has Hollywood Brown, who is a cousin of Antonio Brown, Lamar Jackson, a quarterback who we saw working out with him this offseason, and an offense that isn't quite putting up the numbers that it did during his MVP season a year ago. When you look at this Ravens team, it might be one built to withstand bringing Antonio Brown in for what he might offer.
Janae and Golick Jr. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on your smart speaker or wherever you stream your audio.
1410 WING AM.
Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween.
We are Dayton's ESPN radio station. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 WING AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the WING Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. It is a Friday, and it is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 WING AM. Kev, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Buckeye Day tomorrow. NFL, big games on Sunday. I'm ready.
I thought you were going to be energetic today. I told you before you've been a little too calm lately. But again, this is how most people act on a Friday. And we're excited to be hanging out with you guys here today. So much to get into. We have barely spent any time talking Browns and Bengals this week. So we might try to cram some of that in. Hugh Jackson, for whatever reason, is spewing Browns content. I have no clue why. But we'll get into that coming around the corner. In fact, Hugh Jackson actually said that the Browns are not doing enough to help Baker Mayfield. Every time I try to defend Hugh Jackson and say that, listen, I don't put all the Browns struggles on him during his tenure there, but he's making more of a fool of himself post-Browns career than when he was 0-16 as the head coach. He needs to stop. I love Baker Mayfield, but my goodness, to sit there and say that the Browns are not doing their part in helping Baker Mayfield, that's the stupidest thing I have ever heard or read in my entire life. And there's not a quarterback out there that feels bad for Baker Mayfield. He has had more help than Aaron Rodgers. He has had more help than Tom Brady. He has had more help than pretty much every great quarterback in the NFL today. The big story in the NFL at the time with Aaron Rodgers is that, oh, look, they haven't drafted an offensive weapon since they drafted him. In fact, the first offensive player that the Packers have drafted since drafting Aaron Rodgers is Jordan Love, his backup. I don't want to hear that the Browns aren't doing enough to help Baker Mayfield because they have given that kid absolutely every weapon imaginable: tight end, receivers, running backs, offensive linemen. I don't want to hear, Hugh Jackson, that the Cleveland Browns are not doing their part in helping make Baker Mayfield a success, because that just is definitely not the case.
He's got a book coming out. You gonna read it?
And trust me, and I could tell what he's doing already. And that's the key. When you write a book, you go to the media, you say the stupidest things possible just to get people talking about you. And then it's like, oh, that idiot, he has a book? Sure, let's do it. By the way, very close to getting him on the show, so I need to be a little bit nicer as far as that is concerned. So
hopefully he doesn't listen to the pod.
Hey, he needs to sell books. He needs us. Okay? He needs us. So we can make him look like a genius, and then people will go buy. Would you buy his book? I'm curious. It's a lot about the behind the scenes stuff that happened in Cleveland. I'm definitely interested as far as what went on there, because that was a chaotic year, Baker's rookie season.
I wouldn't buy it, but I would read the excerpt.
Oh, don't worry, he's going to send us some copies. I already
sweet dude.
So we're going to get some copies. We're going to get some free copies of the book, and we'll see what kind of chaos is in there. But he cannot say that the Browns have not done enough to help him. You can't say that. That's totally wrong. And the reason that Baker is not getting a pass like most quarterbacks do early in their career is because of the fact that Cleveland, who doesn't do a lot of things right, the only thing that you can look at Cleveland and say, okay, I give you guys a ton of credit because you guys, the one thing you did right was you made sure you buttoned up the offensive line to protect your investment. You made sure to go out and get receivers. You made sure to go out and enhance the run game. Sure, you had Nick Chubb, but you went out and got Kareem Hunt too. Did you need Kareem Hunt? No, but you had to make sure that you were buttoned up on every level possible when it comes to the offense. So that's where I'm at as far as that goes. So for Hugh Jackson to come out and say that the Browns have not been doing enough for him is just, that's totally not true. So let's go through this. So this article comes out from ESPN.com, and its headline, Hugh Jackson says Cleveland Browns are not helping Baker Mayfield's confidence. Let's be clear. I don't think it's the Browns that are impacting Baker Mayfield's confidence. I think it's Baker Mayfield hurting the Browns' confidence, because the Browns should have a lot of confidence. The Browns should feel confident that with an offensive weaponry that includes OBJ, that includes Jarvis Landry and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and Hooper, and who, by the way, is out for this Sunday's game against the Bengals, which we'll get into coming up in a moment. Browns missing some key weapons going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they don't have a lot of weapons, but one of their key weapons will be out for Sunday as well. We'll get into that coming up around the corner. But no, this isn't a situation where the Cleveland Browns are impacting Baker Mayfield's confidence. He's impacting theirs. The reason that the Browns do not feel like they are where they should be right now is because, well, all the positions that are dependent on quarterback are depending on Baker to do his job, and he's not doing it very well. Hugh Jackson, you were wrong. You are straight up wrong. It wouldn't be the first time you're wrong, and it's definitely not going to be the last time you're wrong, but you are clearly wrong here. Baker Mayfield is the one that is impacting the confidence of this team. Baker Mayfield is the reason that OBJ is having the issues that he is, as far as, starting to lash out now, because OBJ has done absolutely everything that he physically can to help this team as far as right now, because OBJ can't throw the ball to himself. I mean, how many times have we seen Kevin Stefanski have to call a play to rely on Jarvis Landry to throw the ball down the field 40-plus yards? How many times have we seen OBJ in those trick plays have to throw the ball 40-plus yards down the field? You know who you don't see do that? The Buccaneers. You know who you don't see do that? The Packers. Drew Brees and the Saints. They're not going to waste plays and possessions having a wide receiver throw a football when they have a quarterback. That's one less pass that you put in the hands of your star quarterback and a Drew Brees or a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers. I promise you, Kevin Stefanski found himself in a situation where it's like, man, we need a big play here. We need to take advantage of trying to beat the defense down the field. That's why they've been calling them trick plays. I've defended Baker every single chance that I possibly could. But as far as this is concerned, no, that is foolish. The Browns definitely have not done their job in trying to help Baker Mayfield. He's the one that has not done his job. But we'll open up the phone lines, 457-9464. We are live on Facebook as well. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, and jump in on the conversation that way. If you can't call in because you're busy at work, we'll gladly interact with you there. When you comment in the comment section, we get to pull your content into the show as far as that goes. So here's Doug Morgan on Facebook. He says, maybe he means in-game help or at practice. Surely he didn't mean weapons. No, and Doug, I truly believe that. I don't think he intended to say that the Browns have not done their part in helping him get weapons. What I do believe is that he is saying that there's some internal issues, kind of like what you're alluding to as far as how he's being used in practice. He goes on to talk about how Baker Mayfield is being used under center and should be used more in a shotgun formation, which I think you might be on to something there a little bit. Keep in mind that a lot of Baker's success his rookie season, as far as advancing the ball, advancing the offense, that he did a lot of that in the shotgun. The problem is that I don't think that the offense is questioning whether Baker is capable of making a play with his arm. They question his decision making. They question his discipline. He doesn't have the discipline. Would they love to put him in the shotgun and let him, run that type of offense and move the ball up and down the field? Absolutely. We saw it a ton his rookie season. But he throws too many interceptions. Every time he drops back to pass, I don't know about you, and I'm a Baker Mayfield fan. I got to keep making sure I emphasize that. Every time Baker Mayfield drops back to pass, I hold my breath. I'm a nervous wreck. When he completes a pass, I overcheer. I'm overjoyed because it's like, for one, I'm excited that he completed a pass, but I'm even more excited that the person who caught the ball is wearing the same color jersey as Baker Mayfield. That's why they're not running the shotgun. That's why they're not to sit there and act like Baker's problems are because, they're only burying him under center. They are dumbing down the offense. They have to dumb down the offense. They have to bury him under center because if you try to be aggressive with Baker Mayfield, it blows up in your face every single time. So good point, Doug. No, I don't think it was the fact that the Browns haven't put weapons around him. But again, when you come out with a blanketed statement like Hugh Jackson did, saying that the Browns have not done enough to put Baker Mayfield in position to succeed, that's blasphemous. Ron Howard on Facebook. Again, go to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, follow along, and comment and interact with the show. That way we'll be able to go back and forth like that. Ron Howard says, finally, you have seen the light. I don't think it's a matter of me seeing the light, Ron. I think it's just a situation where the issues with the Browns are obvious. I'm not going to sit there and tell you Baker Mayfield has been great. He hasn't. I think he has an opportunity to be great at some points. But right now, as I've talked about all week, the Browns do not have time to wait for Baker Mayfield to catch up. You have way too much talent to sit there and tell that talent, guys, you just need to be patient. We're waiting for Baker Mayfield to catch up. No, it's not going to work that way. Because that talent has leverage. OBJ has leverage. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt and those guys, although under contract for a couple more years, they have leverage. Contracts mean nothing in sports nowadays. Because when you are unhappy somewhere, all you have to do is go into the ownership's office and say, yeah, I want to trade. Doesn't always mean you get that trade. But the second you request that trade, you automatically bring a lot of discomfort into a locker room. You right away bring a lot of drama into a locker room. Because guys like me and guys who cover the teams go on and they put it on Twitter and they report about it. They talk about it on their radio shows, their TV shows. Oh, man, there's some disgruntlement going on behind the scenes. All these players asking for a trade. So although you have contracts, you really don't, because it's not just about looking at and saying, well, you can't go anywhere. We got you for the next 3 years. Well, if you're not mentally if you're not mentally buying into what's going on, you end up looking like a discombobulated mess like the Dallas Cowboys do right now. That's an organization that the players are not buying into the coaching system, that they're not trusting the guy next to them. And that's the next phase of this for the Cleveland Browns. It can get really ugly if this team does not figure out a way to, again, start connecting again offensively, because if that continues to snowball and they don't get it going, it's going to be because of Baker. It's going to be because the front office does not decide to pull the trigger on making a change at quarterback. And do not say Case Keenum, because Case Keenum is definitely not the key to the Browns taking that next step. If you think putting in Case Keenum is all of a sudden going to make the Browns a Super Bowl contender, you're wrong. If the choice is stay with Baker or go to Case Keenum, I'm sticking with Baker Mayfield. That's who you invested to. You gave him $32 million guaranteed. Case Keenum is not all of a sudden going to take this offense to that next level. He may come in and make fewer mistakes. But again, it's not like, if your argument is that Case Keenum is going to come in and make less mistakes, and your argument's not that he's going to come in and take him to that next level, don't waste your time. Because the upside of Baker is a lot higher and better for this Browns organization than it is for what Case Keenum brings to the table. And I don't want to hear about, remember they won 12-plus games. Remember that year with the Vikings and blah, 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 blah. We've seen a lot of quarterbacks on organizations that win a lot of games in spite of them. And right now the Cleveland Browns are at 4-2 in spite of Baker Mayfield. Maybe he could turn it around. You got a bad, embarrassing Bengals team coming up on Sunday. And we'll get into our 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals coming up here in just a little bit. But keep in mind, this is a situation, all right? This is a situation that this game on Sunday, this game is so big on Sunday. I'm not just painting this picture just for talking content on this show. This game for the Browns on Sunday, as much as this pains me to say, is a million times bigger than the game against the Steelers. Because I argued this last week. If the Browns lose to the Steelers, you're supposed to, right? It's the Steelers. You're the Browns. You lose to the Steelers. That's what you do. But right now, there's still an opportunity, a chance of hope. I mean, right now you have a lot of bad teams coming up, or beatable teams. I'm not going to put the Raiders in a bad category, but they're in a beatable category. So if the Browns come out of that embarrassing loss, the beat down to the Steelers, and then you somehow find a way to lose to the Bengals, that's when this is really good. The ish will hit the fan as far as that's concerned when it gets to that point. So I can't believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe I'm saying this. But this Bengals game is way bigger than the last week's game against the Steelers. It absolutely is. Because you beat the Bengals on Sunday and you look up in the standings, you're 5-2. And you're still crying over the beatdown that you took against the Steelers. The Steelers beatdown is not going to keep you or prevent you from getting a win this coming up weekend. So this is a big game, because if the Browns lose against the Bengals coming up this weekend, and the only way you lose to the Bengals this weekend is because your offense just doesn't contribute one little bit. And if the offense doesn't contribute one little bit, we all know why that's going to be. And it's not going to be because the run game doesn't show up, although that could contribute to it, but it's going to be because the below average quarterback play that's just going to stifle this offense and absolutely suffocate it. That's going to be the problem as far as that is concerned. Let's go back to the Facebook feed. Let's go to Tim Joyce. Tim Joyce says, is his size the biggest issue for him in the pocket, or something they can fix? Well, unless they put, some Dr. Scholl's in his shoes and give him some lifts, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix his height in the pocket. But no, I know what you're saying, Tim, as far as that's concerned. I think that was an issue when they drafted him, but we've heard a lot about, undersized undersized quarterbacks in the NFL. Being undersized has not impacted the great play of Russell Wilson. Being undersized has not impacted the great play of Kyler Murray to this point, coincidentally enough. Also a guy from Oklahoma, also a Heisman winner. So I know what you're saying about, can they fix his size? No, unless they have some kind of potion to make him taller, no, he's going to remain the same height that he is. But keep in mind that this is going to be an issue of, again, being able to read his progressions, because that's been the other issue, too, as far as that's concerned. Kyle McGuire, the Browns are a win-now roster. I have zero confidence Baker can get them where they need to go. They can't wait another year for Baker to develop. And, again, that's exactly what I was saying from earlier in the week. We got Kev back with us now here. Have you caught your breath? You good?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
So I was talking about how big of a game this is this weekend. I can't believe I'm saying this, Kev, and I can't wait to see what, your facial expression is going to be. And maybe you'll agree that this game against the Bengals for the Browns coming up on Sunday is actually 1,000,000%. I don't even know if that's a real number that makes sense, but 1,000,000% bigger for the Browns than the Steelers game last week. Because a loss to the Steelers, although it feels like the end of the world for whatever reason, you're not. It's still you're still 4-2. But if you lose to the Bengals this week, you're 4-3, and now that snowball is now starting to form. There is no snowball that has formed at all. You got beat down by the Steelers. So what? The Steelers are a good organization. They do that to a lot of teams. They've done that to you a lot. So you're supposed to lose to the Steelers, right? I was all about them winning last week, by the way, but that's no here nor there. You can't lose to the Bengals. Like last week, you could have afforded a loss to the Steelers. It wasn't the end of the world losing to this, but you cannot lose to the Bengals, because so far the Browns have done a good job of beating the teams you're supposed to. I'm not saying it's okay to lose to the teams that they have, but I think a lot of people chalked up the Ravens and the Steelers as losses early on in the season anyways, looking at that. So this is a big deal, because you beat the Bengals coming up Sunday. You're 5-2.
Yeah.
And you got the Raiders coming up, and then it's the bye week, and then you got the trade deadline around the corner, whether you make a move or not. To be going into the trade deadline, or to enter the halfway point at 5-2 and potentially 6-2, there is nothing to be ashamed of.
Who talked you off the ledge? Who talked you off the ledge, man? You were panicking. You were hitting a panicking button.
No. What I was panicking about was, come playoff time, what we saw last week is what we will see come playoff time. And I'm confident that this team will get to the playoffs. I haven't moved off of that. My argument the other day was that this Browns team can win with Baker Mayfield. They've been winning with Baker Mayfield. You could win in spite of Baker Mayfield's flaws, but you're not going to win in the playoffs in spite of his flaws. You could beat teams like the Bengals. You could beat teams like the Jets and the Giants, and you could beat teams like that. You could beat the Raiders.
Just beat the Colts, who are in the playoffs.
So, yeah, I get that. But I'm talking about like the real teams that they're going to be like division winners. Like the real test, like their next big test is, and don't give me that generic, the biggest game that you have is always the next one. Stop. The next big test. All right. Because, by the way, you beat the Bengals this week. Everyone's just going to say, oh, well, you beat the Bengals.
Right.
You beat the Raiders in 2 weeks. Oh, well, it's just the Raiders. The next test for them, as far as where they are at, the Titans. That's going to be the next game that we look at and say, okay, that's where we'll find out who they are as far as who they can compete with. So, there is time, but that's after the trade deadline as far as that's concerned. Do you agree, Bengals game?
So you're taking an approach that a loss is a loss no matter what the score is?
For who? Not this week?
No, I'm talking about like if you rewind to last week, you lost by 31 points. It's still just one loss. It's not two losses.
It seems like 4 losses.
Right.
I mean, it seems horrible. But, at the end of the day, it's 4-2. You win Sunday, you're 5-2. I think that the process to getting over what happened last week is by getting a win on Sunday.
Right.
Because then you're thinking about, okay, the most recent game you just played, you got a W in, you're prepping for another team. That's how they got past the Ravens game. You had winnable games afterwards, which coincidentally enough, you had the Bengals after the beat down from the Ravens. So the Bengals are your best medicine as far as that's concerned.
I think it's a situation with Browns players, because they talked about it as well. Talked about they felt like they were 2-4 as opposed to 4-2, and the fan base for that matter. They want to skip the steps. They want to go right to the front of the line. They don't want to, have to. They feel like, all right, man, we got the roster in place. We want to skip over the grinding stage. Like, we were terrible. We bounced back from an 0-16 season. Now we want to be Super Bowl champs. It's a process in there. It's a process where you do have to go through these bumps in the road. And those bumps in the road, sometimes they happen during the regular season. As Peyton Manning, those bumps for him happen not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs as well. Like, I feel like Browns fans want to skip that step of all right, we got a talented team and we can do some damage to let's win it all. is a process to it. So as far as this game, get this win, and you're right back where you want to be. You're right back where you want to be. You're not even right back where you want to be. You are where you want to be right now at 4-2. You're beating the teams that you should beat. Matter of fact, it was a toss-up game between you and the Colts. You got that victory. So get this victory over a rookie quarterback who will be out without his number one running back. So get this victory, and you'll be 5-2.
Oh, I know what the record will be. You're repeating exactly what I said, but I'm telling you now, a win over the Bengals will make you feel better. You look up, you're 5-2, but it's not going to erase what the organization knows big picture is. Yeah, we got a problem. It's kind of like when when your check engine light comes on. It doesn't mean your car is dead right then and there, but my goodness, that no matter where you go, that right now the Browns check engine light is on.
At 4-2.
At 4-2, the check engine light. A check engine light doesn't mean your car's dead. So yes, at 4-2. So your check engine light is on, and you're driving, and you're driving, and you're driving, and the Browns will continue moving and moving and winning and winning. But you know what's going to be staring at them the entire time that they're in that car? That little check engine light right there.
You don't want to skip over the process, man. It's a process.
No, when my check engine light comes on, I leave that mofo on for a while because I work here. But whenever I get a couple good paychecks here and there, I combine it all. And I go and I get it taken care of. The Browns right now, but the responsible thing to do is when you see the check engine light come on, you don't leave that thing on because you know what happened? The check engine light comes on. It's usually the first problem that gets that check engine light to come on. But then whatever the initial issue is, then it starts causing other issues. And then it bleeds out and out and out. And right now, Baker Mayfield, he's what has caused the check engine light to come on. But you know what happens when you don't address that check engine light? Then it starts impacting in a negative way some other parts in the car. That's where it's going to start impacting OBJ and Jarvis. And then the offensive line's not as confident. And then the offensive line looks weak. And the run game's not as strong. It's just like that right now. And that's one hell of an analogy that I didn't have planned coming into this. I feel very good about it. And you can't argue it. If your check engine light comes on, do you leave it?
No.
Why?
Because I got a new car.
Well, come on, be a big picture. You can't freak out. You haven't gone to get your check engine light fixed? Oh, Kev over here. Oh, it's only been on for 2 days.
No.
It's only been on for 2 days. There's no need to panic. I mean, I just got this car. No need to panic. All right, 457-9464. Doug Toby says, put your money where your mouth is. If the Bengals win, you have to wear a Bengals jersey 3 days next week.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it too. Doug Toby, I'll make you a deal. You provide me that Bengals jersey, and if it's Joe Burrow, I don't care. If you provide me that Bengals jersey, if the Bengals win on Sunday, if they win on Sunday, okay? If they win, Doug Toby, you got a deal. But I'm not going out to buy the Bengals jersey. You have to provide the Bengals jersey. You provide me. I'm extra large, okay? You provide me with that Bengals jersey. I will wear it. I'll wear it every day for the show next week. I will wear it. I will wear that Bengals jersey proud. I'll say go Bengals every single day if they beat the Browns, but you have to provide that Bengals jersey. I'm not wearing it. I'm not going out to get one. I'll wear it if you provide it, but I'm not going out to get it myself.
Doug, get him a medium Randy Bullock jersey. The kicker.
I'm telling you right now, if I get that jersey on, I won't be able to take it off. So I'll be out of breath. Dylan Carell, what's up, Dylan? He says, pink Bengals jersey, please. I don't care what color it is.
As long as it's a medium.
Schmedium.
That's the only one I care about. Get him a medium.
Real quick, David Shaw says, but that's not how you felt last week. You said the game was bigger for the Steelers because the Browns' schedule was easier. I haven't deflected from that. I just got done saying that last week, as big of a game as that was for Cleveland, a chance to prove themselves, a loss didn't eliminate them from anything. But if you think that a beatdown from the Steelers killed the morale of this team, what do you think is going to happen when you lose to the JV team coming up on Sunday? That is the Cincinnati Bengals, who are without Joe Mixon, by the way.
Yeah.
So you lose to the JV team being the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Now that to me is why this game is bigger than the Steelers game, because it's one thing to lose to teams that I'm not saying that you should lose to, but that you are capable of losing to. But yeah, I'm just saying. And Doug Toby said, deal, and dude has to call in. Doug, I'm not his keeper. I'm not his keeper, so I can't control if he calls in or not. But absolutely. But Doug, you provide the Bengals jersey if they win. Every day, Monday through Friday, I'll be sporting that Bengals jersey like you would not believe. But it's not going to happen. Just like dude ain't going to call in. as far as that goes. You are deflecting from that by saying this week is bigger than... No, Dave, what is wrong with you? What is wrong? Last week, I said it was a big game for the Browns, but it was bigger for the Steelers. Because if the Steelers lost to the Browns last week, it's embarrassing to lose to the Browns, and then the Steelers would start questioning themselves because now they're going to be like, okay, maybe we were not as good as we thought. They proved that they are not just head and shoulders better than the Browns, that they're easily top 5 in the NFL right now. That was a huge game for them. It was a bigger game for them than it was for the Browns. Doesn't mean it wasn't a big game for the Browns. It was a big game. And they didn't just lose, they got embarrassed. And it has literally debilitated them this entire week. It's an entire week. But a loss to the Bengals coming up on Sunday would be a 10 times bigger deal than losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week, because you shouldn't lose to the Bengals. You should not lose to the Bengals. All right, folks, you're listening to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on a Friday. Tomorrow we have Ohio State football. We got Ohio State talk coming up around the corner. We got some calls coming in. More of your calls when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 78. Tonight will also be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 42. And tomorrow is going to be mainly clear with a high near 52. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo.
Bon dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy conforme. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et tu viens tu.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Do you have foot pain? Did you know foot pain is not normal, regardless of your age, activities, or job? Podiatric physicians are the most qualified doctors to care for your feet based on their education, training, and experience. Your podiatrist can provide you with important foot care solutions like shoe inserts, so you're able to better manage foot pain. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association members are bound by the highest ethical standards and have access to superior ongoing medical education and resources. Ask if your podiatrist is a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association so you know you are being treated by the very best. After all, we've been serving the profession and the public for over 100 years. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
When you needed your mom, she was always there with the Vicks Vapor Rub. She used that soothing scent to calm you. And her mom used it to calm her. And her mom, well, you get the idea. Vicks Vapor Rub's always been there. It always made you feel better. And today, it still does. Bring back those childhood memories with the comfort and care only Vicks Vapor Rub can bring. Vicks Vapor Rub, family tradition for a reason.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at USPS.com/votinginfo. There, you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at USPS.com/votinginfo.
Strict attention to detail. That's what sets Kubota construction equipment apart. It's how we maximize performance, increase strength, and give you the dependability you demand. We engineer our equipment precisely at every level. It's what makes us a leader. Save up to $11,000 on construction equipment or get 0% APR financing for 60 months. Now through December 31st, 2020. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Oktoberfest and football are at Milano's. Bavarian pretzels, German beers, schnitzel, and more. Come in and watch the game or get it to go. All carry-out beers are 25% off every day at Milano's Pizza, Subs, and Taps.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Champagne Dental Group in Urbana recognizes that dental phobias are real. If phobias are preventing you from getting dental treatment, we have numerous options to keep you comfortable and ease your fears. We offer multiple methods to help relax you while you're in the chair, which include oral sedation, medication, and nitrous oxide free of charge. Our friendly and caring staff make it their mission to get you the smile you desire. Visit us online at champagnedentalgroup.org.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Hi, this is Chris Burmick, co-owner of Butler Heating and Air Conditioning. I support LaRonda Jackson for state representative. LaRonda is reliable and responsive when called upon. Her follow-up said a lot to me about her commitment to local businesses. LaRonda Jackson is a successful business owner, and I appreciate her desire to create a better community for all of us. If you live in District 40 and want vision, unity, and values, vote LaRonda Jackson for state representative.
Paid for by Friends of LaRonda Jackson.
Lowe's has a brand new flooring showroom filled with all types of floors. Scratch-resistant floors for toddlers and their toys. Easy-to-clean carpets for canines. Stain-resistant floors for scrumptious suppers. Even floors for yogis finding out how flexible they are. There's floors for all. And they're all at Lowe's. Book now and have yours installed by the holidays. Install available, in-store only. Holiday install applies to basic install and subject to date restrictions, installer, and product availability. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. Contiguous U.S. only.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Whether it's betting on the big game, catching up on bills, or saving up for the holidays, we could all use a little extra cash this time of year. Hey, how does $1,000 sound? It's the ESPN Dayton hashtag We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. Listen for the word that wins every hour starting at 6 a.m. Monday through Friday. Enter the word at wingam.com for your chance to win $1,000. It's the ESPN Dayton We Want to Get Paid Cash Contest. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on a Friday. Still got a lot to get into. We're going to go 3 and out with the Browns-Bengals coming up here around the corner. Browns-Bengals go head-to-head this Sunday, 1 o'clock. And, of course, the Buckeyes kick off their 2020 season starting tomorrow. 10:30 will be the pregame. It'll walk you right up to a noon kick. Ohio State, Nebraska, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio. Kev, I think even though you may disagree with a lot that I say, I don't understand why people are having a hard time. One person in particular on Facebook has a hard time understanding that although last week I thought the game was bigger for the Steelers, whether you agree that it didn't mean that it wasn't a big game for the Browns. He is literally just not seeming to comprehend that, and I don't understand. I'm really making it as simple as possible for him even to understand that you could, and he's trying to dumb it down to say that, well, every game's a big game. I can't stand when people do that very generic, just give me a break. Every game's a big game. Every game is not a big game. I promise you that not not every week you feel like you are playing in a Super Bowl playoff type game as you do in others. When you play the Steelers, you're playing the Steelers. That's a big deal. Like last week felt like a bigger game than this week, although the severity, like the impact of losing to this game is going to be a lot more severe than losing to the Steelers last week. Last week's game felt massive. It felt huge. It doesn't feel massive and huge with the Bengals this Sunday, but the reason that it is a bigger game is because of what's at stake. Yes, you could sit there and say, well, every week it's a big, of course, every week's a big game, but not every game carries as much weight as far as what's going to result if you win or lose coming out of it. That's, I think, even simple for anyone to understand.
You're right and wrong. You're right for the simple fact that it is the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is their biggest rival, even though it's not really a rivalry, but it is a team that they have been chasing for the last 20 years. It's the team that, all right, they still are undefeated. They're undefeated. At the time you were 4-1. This game could catapult you into first place at the time. After the game was over and the 31-point loss, you have to refocus and come to the next game, which is equally important because you don't want that quote unquote Steelers game to beat you twice. You want to be able to bounce back and keep your season moving forward. You can't allow that game to dominate your season. So I
don't let it dominate you. Is that what you're saying?
I wasn't even trying to say that, but I'm glad you said it. But you have to move forward. So this is a huge game for the Browns. Last week was a huge opportunity for the Browns to play the Pittsburgh Steelers and to say, hey, we're here to play with the big boys too. But this game is equally important because it is to make sure we get back. Well, y'all get back on the right track.
Yeah, because let's be clear here. If the Browns did what I predicted them to do and beat the Steelers last week, this Bengals game is not. There's really no spin on it other than to just keep the momentum going. There is no narrative of this week's game. There's a narrative now because you just got beat down by the Steelers. How are you going to respond? How is Baker going to look? Will the offensive line, reappear because they disappeared last week? How will Kareem Hunt respond after being basically, taken out last weekend? So, yes, everything changes as far as that goes. He goes on to say, you could treat me like I'm dumb all you want, but it doesn't change the facts. First of all, my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Technically, we're not using any facts in this situation whatsoever. So when you go find a dictionary, look up the meaning of what a opinion is versus a fact is, and then we can all come back to the table and have a conversation. Let's go to the phones. We got Chris waiting on us. Chris, how are you, sir?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Justin, we're overreacting a little bit. The engine light isn't on yet, man. We're 4-2. Now, if we lose to the Bengals, yeah, then that service light's going to come on. But right now, the Bengals are about as bad as a David Shaw comment. You know what I mean?
Wow. Shots fired, Chris.
I mean, I can't help but to feel dumber the more I read, so I just have to listen to you on the radio. But anyway.
And you don't hear people say that too often, that reading makes you dumber.
Well, exactly. That's how bad it is right now. I had to turn on the radio. But yeah, man, 4-2. We gotta not overreact. We're going to beat the Bengals. They're without William Jackson III. They're without Joe Mixon. They're both out this week. So I think the Browns are going to light it up. They couldn't guard OBJ with William Jackson III, so I don't know how they're going to guard him this week. So I say this is the week Baker can get it rolling. Although I'm off the Baker train, I think Baker can get it rolling in this game just because I don't know that they have the cornerbacks to guard him.
All right. I know I'm with you. I mean, and look, and let's be clear. We could talk about the play of Baker and OBJ and the secondary for the Bengals. But as long as Cleveland goes back to what has worked all season, and that is establishing the run game, especially what they did to the Bengals last time, dominating on the ground, they go back to what works, start with the run game, work your way out, ease confidence or get confidence back into Baker. I think they'll come out okay. So
play action pass, first game, 80-yard bomb to OBJ. Let's go Browns. Here we go.
There you go. I like it. Take care, man. Have a great weekend. Go Browns. All right, 457-9464. We got DoorDash Ray. Or is he out for a delivery? DoorDash Ray?
He is back.
Hello, young man. How you guys doing today?
It's about time. I mean, I'd say every time it's like you only have a short amount of time between deliveries. I get it, DoorDash Ray. It's all good.
No. I think there was a bias between Kevin and I there for a week or two.
No, he did. He always looks at me like it's that damn DoorDash Ray again. Every time. I'm like, oh.
I was like, man.
I don't know why Kevin don't like you.
Kevin Nash. That's crazy. Anyway, dude, hey, look, you'll bounce back this weekend. Come on, this is definitely a win for you guys this weekend. You got the Bengals coming up. This is a perfect game for you to regroup and just beat the crap out of somebody. Pittsburgh, I'm sorry. I think this is your first loss of the year, obviously. I think Tennessee's going to hand them their first loss. I'm just worried about my Raiders. My Raiders are all tested for COVID. They sent everybody home. Our whole offensive line got sent home. But I think we're good now. What I just read earlier was that more than likely we're all going to play. Everybody's negative.
Oh, really? So what you're saying is that the Bengals will keep their title of worst offensive line in football going for another week? Is that what you're saying?
Another week? We're going to go for another decade. What are you talking about? They don't want to spend money on their line. It's been an issue forever. You know that. But,
absolutely. But the Raiders were about to go. I mean, it was very strange. And they talked about this, why they've, practiced in pods a little bit, because you don't want all of your position players, working out and practicing with all the others at all times. They literally had almost every starter for the offensive line marked as almost out for this game coming up this weekend.
Right.
So they would have had all, backup guys, which the Bengals, the only team that would not have felt sorry for them is the Cincinnati Bengals, who have made it a living over the last couple of years playing with backup guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what we've been doing every week almost. We've had everybody hurt, and we've had to put the next guy up, and that's kind of been the theme this year, and we've responded fairly well so far. But you know what? I got something different to talk about.
What you got for us?
I really think I'm going to start becoming a country music fan, because that music awards show the other night, dude, with Noah Cyrus and that thing she had on. Are you kidding me? I'm definitely down with country music at this point. So what I say is let's bring some of those outfits back with some of these extremely fine-looking ladies in the country music. That was unbelievable. Did you see that?
No, but it sounds like you ain't out dashing lately. It sounds, you can listen to a lot of country music out on the road.
No, well, this was in the evening. I had no idea, but I didn't watch it. But
what's going on with this peak pay? Where's all the peak pay gone?
You tell me exactly. I am completely. I haven't even DoorDash for a week and a half because I'm not making any money. There's no peak pay. You're exactly right. And I can't get out here. We can't go out here and work for 6-7 hours, $50 in gas, wear and tear on the car for $60.
Yeah, the check engine light might come on. You might have to address it. Might not be able to afford to address it.
I don't know what happened to the good old days when we'd go out there and bust out $100 a day, but yeah.
The good old days. You mean back when, we weren't allowed to leave our house and all businesses were shut down? Yes, the only people that benefited from that, unfortunately, were the DoorDash drivers. DoorDash, right?
Yeah, I have a different job now anyway. I still do this on the side somewhat, but yeah, DoorDashing, and I think there's so many people doing it now too. That's kind of hampering some areas, but yeah. But, hey, no, but country music, Justin. Look, I can't believe you haven't seen Noah Cyrus. Kevin saw it. He had to.
No, I didn't see it.
He knows what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't see it.
All right.
Guys, look up Noah Cyrus in the outfit. See ya.
Try and stop me. All right, adios. Who is he talking about?
I have no idea.
Did he say Noah? Who's Noah? What did he say?
I thought he said Noah Cyrus, but I don't even know who that is.
I have no clue.
And I'm
Noah
the music
Cyrus.
guy.
Yeah. Miley Cyrus, but she ain't country, so I have no clue. She's trying all these like rock remakes now and stuff. Like she's doing these rock covers now.
I'll pass.
But she actually didn't do too bad.
I'll pass.
I'll pass on you what music you like. I'll pass on that.
Huh?
What music you like? I'll pass
like
on
everything. I like a little bit of everything.
Apparently not.
Of course, I love.
You just passed.
I pass on Miley Cyrus every time. Of course, I love hip hop. I love old school R&B. I love Motown era.
What about the stripper music?
Oh, I love that.
There you go. Right there. No matter what music you listen, nope, can't go there. Can't go there. I was gonna say, no matter what music you're listening to, as long as, but can't. Justin Kiddo, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I don't think we've accomplished anything in this hour. I think I've just basically, I think we all really appreciate my car analogy of the check engine light. If this was the Dan Le Batard show, I'd say put it on the poll. Are we at the point of the season now where the Browns season equates to a moment where you got to get your car dressed if the check engine light comes on? I mean, absolutely.
That speaks to the importance of this game.
Or the situation, not the team. The game, no matter who they were playing this week, this would be the same thing. I'm just saying. All right, coming up around the corner, we'll get into some Ohio State stuff. We'll go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals. How about this? The NBA, although it was talked about not coming back till early next year, it could potentially be, the 2019-2020 season just wrapped up a few weeks ago.
Right.
The 2020-2021 season could tip off on Christmas Day, which makes a ton of sense. Will it happen? We'll find out. College basketball playing in a bubble, at least for 30 teams. Are local teams involved? I'll tell you that coming up around the corner. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Trick or treat.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo.
Bon dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. Eu no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du viens tu.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Make it a Redbox night with an edge-of-your-seat action thriller that can't be missed. Rent Ava, starring Jessica Chastain. Ava is a notorious assassin who travels the globe specializing in high-profile hits. However, when a job goes dangerously wrong, she is forced to fight for her own survival. Rent Ava, along with other new movies, tonight. Head to one of the 40,000 Redbox locations. Stream on your smart TV or visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
It's time for Straight Talk, just like football. You want the best coverage with your wireless network without your wallet taking a hit? Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same nationwide coverage as the big carriers, America's best networks, for up to 50% less. Just $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data than 2G with an unlimited plan. No contract, no mystery fees. Don't get sidelined by weak protection. Get Straight Talk Wireless. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Beware, the forces of hail will rain down upon you.
What the hail?
Storms, the threat of eternal hail.
Who the hell was that, honey?
Hail if I know.
What the hell did he want?
He was hail concerned about us getting a roof inspection.
Hell of a way to tell you about it.
Lance Roofing and Siding is your local expert in everything hail can damage on your home. Have unsightly hail damage? Visit us at lanceroofing.com to schedule your appointment today.
Polking Bowling Centers are your connection for family fun. Looking for some spooky entertainment? Join us at Polking Bowling Centers for a great night out with your friends. And check out Spooktacular Laser Tag, now open at Polking Woodman Lanes. It's Halloween fun for all. Visit polkingbowling.com or Facebook for all the details to schedule your next Halloween bowling party. Safe, sanitized, and socially distanced. Let the good times roll at Polking Lanes in Dayton on Willington Avenue, Polking Woodman Lanes in Kettering on Woodman Drive, and Polking Lane South in Centerville on Kingsridge Drive. The Hustler Power October Super Event is going on now at Small Engine Service Pros in New Carlisle. Purchase a Hustler X1, Super S, Super Z, or Super Z Hyperdrive in October, and you'll receive 20% off MSRP. Visit Small Engine Service Pros and ask them to apply the Super Event promotion for 20% off. Fleet customers receive up to 32% off. Visit hustlerturf.com. Valid through October 31st, 2020. Some exclusions apply. See dealer for details. Small Engine Service Pros, 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Of course we can help you find some new headlights. Here's a tip. Make sure to replace them in pairs so you'll have even lighting over time. Right now you can get a $10 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy a Sylvania HID bulb. And with our free next day delivery and free same day store pickup, you can get it fast. Getting the job done just got easier. Free next day delivery on eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Cleveland State women's basketball coach Chris Kilsmeyer, COVID survivor.
I was fatigued, just like every other basketball coach in March, but didn't think about getting sick. I woke up one night with the worst pains and chills I'd ever experienced. I tested positive for coronavirus and immediately self-quarantined. I got worse and worse and checked into the hospital. Multiple times I said, I don't want to die. We know what works. We know how to fight this, but it's going to take all of us doing the right thing every single day.
Sponsored by the Ohio Hospital Association.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are outliers. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. Or facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash here on a Friday. Hope everyone had a great week, and I'm pumped. We've got a jam-packed full weekend of sports coming up. And look, we've had college football back for a month and a half. We've talked about it a lot this week. That although college football has been officially going for a couple of weeks now, basically well over a month.
Yep.
It finally feels like tomorrow. Like I honestly feel like tomorrow's like the first real day of college football. And let's be clear, the SEC, which is the better conference, by the way, they've been kicked off for weeks. They've had already some massive games. We've already seen some big games from Clemson and Florida, and obviously they're out of the ACC, but Clemson and Miami, not Florida. Clemson and Miami. We've seen some big games. And I'm telling you what, to now get the Big Ten in the fold, I'm really excited. You and I were talking during the break. I started just kind of looking around. Tomorrow night, the primetime game is Minnesota and that team up north.
Can't wait.
And I begin looking at Minnesota. I'm like, there's good. I mean, they got, they have a ton of talent. They're scheduled. They avoid all the big dogs outside of, Wisconsin. I don't look as Michigan as a big dog right now. I just don't. They've lost that credibility.
What type of dog?
They're okay. So you have Chihuahuas, and then you have like the Ohio State is like a Great Dane. Okay, the big ass dog. Okay, and then like a middle, like I don't even want to say a lab. I don't even think Michigan's cool enough to be a lab. I mean, what kind of dog could they be? Dog? What kind of dog could they be? They're not a Chihuahua. They're not that small. They're not, but they are pretty yappy. But no, they're just like a mid-sized dog. Like you kind of look out for them. If they come at you fast, they might get you. But you always got to, be on your toes around them. But I mean, I'm not afraid of that. But no, Minnesota. Michigan tomorrow night, and then you play Maryland, Illinois, Iowa, Purdue. They do play at Wisconsin. I have no idea what to expect from Wisconsin. None, right. No clue.
Who's their newest legendary running back?
No kidding. And I mean, that's a team right there that last year, when we were talking a lot about J.K. Dobbins versus Jonathan Taylor, I kept arguing, look, as much as I love J.K. Dobbins, I have to favor Jonathan Taylor more because J.K. Dobbins is one part of one of the most explosive offenses in college football. Jonathan Taylor was the explosive offense for Wisconsin. If they took him out, they look like the Browns this past week. You took the run game out, they literally had nothing left. They had nothing else to rely on as far as that's concerned. But Minnesota could be a sleeper playoff team. I think that they're good enough to beat Michigan. They're good enough to beat Wisconsin. I think that they're good enough to run the table. They have the talent. Fleck is obviously, row the boat, whatever the heck. It's like a little children's song. But I'm buying into Minnesota, which now means they will lose, and they'll lose by double figures tomorrow. You know how this goes. But, their schedule is favorable. Their schedule is favorable to where they could potentially be undefeated. heading into that matchup if it's potentially against Ohio State towards the end of the season. Everyone's basically penciled in Wisconsin into that role, but I think it's going to be interesting as far as that's concerned. The little Big Ten championship game, or however they're simulating that, I don't even understand how they're doing that. But regardless, you know what I mean. Like I kind of like Minnesota. That's going to be the team I keep my eye on outside of your typical Buckeye team.
Yeah, there's someone to keep an eye on, but what I want to keep their eye on for Minnesota is the loss of Winfield Jr.
Mm-hmm.
We all know his dad because he went to Ohio State and was a star for us and everything like that. But he was a second-round pick playing for the Buccaneers right now. They also lost another linebacker. I know the wide receiver came back, but I'm going to look at their defense and see if their defense is going to be as stellar as it was last year with them losing 2 big-time starters who are now playing in the NFL. This is going to be a big game. The fact that we don't know anything about a lot of schools right now is very interesting to me. Since COVID came, we're just like really all in the dark. You know, in a normal situation, I would know Michigan's roster head to toe. I would know Penn State's roster head to toe. The only 2 rosters I know head to toe is Ohio State and Florida State, because those are the teams that I follow every single day. I check up on them daily. But since college football and since sports is just like kind of like in limbo, like I haven't had that itch to check everybody out. Now, big games have been on. You know, last week it was Bama and Georgia. Turned on that, watched that, but I haven't been watching every game like I normally would be watching every game. Now that the Big Ten is back, we're getting the weather to change. You know, the wife is going to be cooking chili tonight so we can have it during the game tomorrow. It's starting to really amp up. You know, shoot, next week is Halloween. It's going to be more big games. Obviously, Ohio State plays Penn State next week. It's a boxing matchup going on next Saturday. So it's really about to dial up the sports activity. I'm here for it all.
Chris Schulp on Facebook says that Michigan is a Shih Tzu.
Huh? Oh,
that's a type of dog. Relax. Sure, any other time you fail to hit the button correctly, but you were ready to go on that one. Chris, I agree with you, but take out the zoo.
This guy.
There we go. What else we got here? So I can't read that one. Okay, but anyway, 457-9464. Tomorrow night, Minnesota and Michigan. Michigan, a 3-point favorite.
Who you got in that game?
Minnesota. Minnesota. Why'd you ask?
Yeah, just because, man. You know, I know you're an Ohio State fan, but I don't really ever hear you really talk bad about Michigan. So I was just curious about who you.
I just said that they were without the zoo, that they're a Shih Tzu minus the zoo.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is like a really first for me. Normally, that's type of talk is from our guy Ryan Drake or Andy. You know, talking bad about the team up north.
I talk bad about them.
Okay.
I mean. But again, I'm labeled an Ohio State hater, you know. So would an Ohio State hater ever say anything bad about Michigan? Come on. Come on. Illinois, Wisconsin tomorrow. Wisconsin, a 20-point favorite against the Fighting Lovey Smiths. So interesting nonetheless. Clemson at home, number 1, going up against Syracuse. They're a 46-point favorite.
Bet the over.
Shocker. Ohio State's a 27-point favorite at home against Nebraska. Obviously, you're going to see a lot of those lines. I'm excited for the Penn State game next week. Jay Paterno, the son of Joe Paterno, we had him on about, I think, last month, a month before that. I just spoke with him today. He's going to come on next week, and we're going to have a couple days with him to kind of talk about the Ohio State-Penn State matchup. North Carolina, 3-1 on the year. They are a 15.5-point favorite against number 23 NC State. Gives them a shot for another top 25 win. Again, I know not a lot of people are putting a lot of stock into the rankings at this point, but the bottom line is if Ohio State was playing a team that had a number in front of it, we'd be bragging about it. So North Carolina has a shot to get another top 25 win this weekend. Kansas State is welcoming in 0-4 Kansas. So obviously, you know, things are, Les Miles isn't really, hitting the right buttons over there in Kansas. Kansas State is a 19.5-point favorite. They're 20th in the country. Moving on down the list, Marshall has Florida Atlantic. They are a 16-point favorite. Tennessee is welcoming in number 2 Alabama. What do you think that line is if you had to guess?
17.
21.5. Woo-wee. No, I thought it would be bigger than that.
No, because they fired a defensive coordinator.
You think firing defensive coordinators just makes the defense better?
Yeah, because the head coach, drawing a blank on his name, he's going to be calling the defense now.
And that makes the defense better?
Yeah, he's the DC.
The players just magically get better?
He was the DC when Bama won a couple chips. He was the DC when Florida State won the chip. Put the chess pieces in the right spot.
I don't know.
You don't think so? I'm trying. I was trying.
Alabama, man, they're rolling. And I saw this the other day. They're literally showing Mac, the Mac Jones, whatever, like his numbers are spot on with where Joe Burrow was a year ago at this time. They said he's on pace to having a very similar, if not better, season than Joe Burrow a year ago, which, by the way, the only way that you can have a better season than Joe Burrow a year ago is to finish the season undefeated, to win a national championship, to win the Heisman, and be drafted number 1 overall. If you can't do all 4 of those, there's no possible way. But it is interesting seeing that Alabama, who replaces Tua Tagovailoa with the guy that all of a sudden is just putting up numbers that are right up there on par with last year's Heisman winner and Joe Burrow, who
in all conference games, too. No cupcake games.
Yes, I was waiting for that because people right away, usually try to, they haven't played anybody. And this is what I mean by, even if Alabama got rid of those like William and Mary games, let's be clear, people would still complain. Citadel, get rid of the Citadel games. People will still complain and say, well, they still haven't played anybody yet. This is the game that we play. So it is what it is. But I do find that interesting, that Alabama, who has not been this hotbed for quarterbacks, has all of a sudden just been spitting them out left and right lately. It'll be interesting to see if he can keep it up in Mac Jones. 1,500 plus yards, 12 touchdowns. We'll see. He's completed 90 of his 115 passes. We'll see. We'll see. Najee Harris, big fan of his, by the way. Do you know that ESPN, every time they do those stupid little like tearjerker little features over the, so I'm a big fan of Najee Harris. They did a really cool feature piece on him, of him connecting with the kid that was dying of cancer. And of course he showed up at his hospital, but I just thought that was really cool stuff as far as that concerned. And there's those videos every week. But again, I like that's why I love those is because, when you watch the games on the weekend, you're just seeing these athletes with numbers on their jersey, and that's all they are to you. But when you see the work that they're doing behind the scenes, you connect with them on a different level. So I'm a big Najee Harris fan as far as that goes. Notre Dame, they're number 3 in the country. They're at Pitt. Notre Dame is favored by 10. And my question is based on what I saw last week, are they capable of scoring 10? My goodness, that was brutal.
I watched part of that game when I was at the car dealership for hours and hours and hours on end. They were trying to pass the ball in 50-mile-per-hour winds. Coach, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, they literally dropped back to pass, I want to say 25 times in 50-mile-per-hour winds. So I don't necessarily look at them only scoring 12 points. They only scored 12 points because I actually saw the game and I saw it was 50-mile-per-hour winds. I am more concerned about the coach actually dropping back to pass that many times. That is what are you doing?
Yeah, it was not pretty. It was not pretty. But they got Pitt. I don't know. They're a 10-point favorite. Notre Dame's not for real. They're not going to be in the playoff at the end.
You just make these statements, man.
Anyone out there that's not a Notre Dame fan buying into Notre Dame, call in 457-9464. I'm telling you right now. And the committee, they learned their lesson with Notre Dame a few years ago when they gave them the benefit of the doubt when they played a crap schedule, didn't beat anyone of substance. And of course they looked the part. And then all of a sudden they played a real team. And then we all know what happened. So, Ian Book, it's the end of that chapter as far as that's concerned.
Boom! All week, people.
Absolutely. Oklahoma State, number 6, welcoming in number 17, Iowa State. Oklahoma State, a 3-point favorite as far as that goes. Indiana, again, Big Ten play kicks off tomorrow. Ohio State kicks off their season at noon, welcoming in Nebraska to an empty shoe. 10:30 the pregame, 12 noon kick. Penn State will be in action tomorrow as well. 3:30 will be a kickoff that'll be on Fox Sports 1. They'll be on the road at Indiana, Kev, and they're only a 6.5-point favorite. Penn State's getting a lot of love, but I would have to think that if they are being looked at as a team that's on par with Ohio State in the Big Ten, and again, I may be making this oversimplistic, but if Ohio State was on the road at Indiana, do you really think Ohio State would be a 6.5-point favorite as far as that goes? Maybe I'm making too much of it, but again, that's a very tight line for a team that is supposed to be like the Big Ten. Every show I watched, even throughout today, previewing the Big Ten tomorrow, it's Ohio State, Penn State, and everyone else in the Big Ten. That's strange to me. Again, I'm maybe making too much of it, but but you know what I mean? Ohio State, if they're at Indiana tomorrow, we're not talking about a game that's a 6.5 point line. I don't know how Penn State's being put on that same level, but they can go in tomorrow. They can take care of business, and who cares about what the line was?
They better watch out for Indiana offensively. Their quarterback is probably the third best quarterback in the Big Ten, behind the guy at Minnesota. Obviously, we know who's number one, but he's pretty good.
And Shaw says Indiana brings back a ton of on defense and a lot on their offense. Again, what does a ton on defense for Indiana mean? What does a ton of offense mean for Indiana? I don't know. I'm just saying. We'll see. Michigan, Minnesota. Michigan, a 3-point favorite, as we talked about. Miami, number 11. They are a 13.5-point favorite, welcoming in Virginia. SMU is the home team. They are ranked number 16, and the potential college football playoff Bear Kittens, the Cincinnati Bearcats. They're on the road, Kev. What's the line? Who's winning that? Who do you think is favored, and what's the line?
Bearcats.
What's the line?
6.
Now, if Cincinnati's an actual playoff team that people really respect as what could be a playoff team, if Ohio State was playing at SMU or Alabama or even Notre Dame, do you think that they would be 2.5-point dogs to SMU? No,
they would play the game. Baby.
Stop with the law. Don't. I got to ban that. I got to ban those lines from.
That's why they play the game.
One game at a time. The only important game is the next, where we only control what's up next on the schedule. Next man up. BYU, 28.5-point favorites at home against Texas State. And that is the top 25 college football matchup rundown for tomorrow. We'll get back into more of that. But I'm telling you right now, Cincinnati, can we stop with the playoff conversation with them? No playoff team in the history of the world would ever be a 2.5-point dog at SMU. Hour 2 next.
Oh, look, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We've been expecting you. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
We saved serious cash with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the money to buy a new boat.
Who's ready to water ski?
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough for a new boat. They'll probably spend it on rent or gas money or maybe one of those little plastic wading pools for the yard.
Ahoy there!
Is what the captain might say on the toy boat in your wading pool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
If you owe back taxes, there's a lot you need to know, starting with rule number 1. Don't mess with the IRS. They are cracking down this year by sending out heart-stopping letters, actively garnishing paychecks, levying bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. That's all true, but it's also true there's a way out. It's called the Fresh Start Initiative, an important government program for tax debt assistance. It's one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered, so now's the time. You could qualify for tax relief that saves you thousands, even tens of thousands. Nobody knows this program like the award-winning experts at Optima Tax Relief. They have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and will fight to get you the best deal possible. Don't mess with the IRS. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
After falling to the Los Angeles Lakers in the 1982 NBA Finals, the 76ers needed to find the right player to build the ultimate winning team. In September of '82, they acquired restricted free agent Moses Malone. They went on to rack up a 65-17 regular season record and followed that up with a 12-1 postseason record. Malone won the regular season and NBA Finals MVP award.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
Adding a leader you need
right when you need them. That's how sports teams get ahead and how your business can too. LinkedIn will match the right talent with your open roles fast. Post a job and you'll get great candidates with the right mix of skills, interest, and experience. So every hire you make is a win for your business. Go to linkedin.com/sports and get $50 off your first job post. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just dropped some gum in my mouth. Step out of the car, please. I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Back to the famous WYNG studios. Here's Justin Kinner and Kev Nash.
We got Austin Ward with Letterman Road joining us. Austin, welcome in, sir. How are you?
Hey, man. How are you?
Good. I appreciate your time. So let's rewind all the way back to the Fiesta Bowl. The clock hit 0. Clemson beats Ohio State. Did you really think that you were going to have to wait all the way to pretty much the end of October before you got to watch your next Buckeye game?
No, I certainly did not. And even March 13th or 15th or whatever it was, everything seemed normal. And they were going to go through a normal spring camp, and then the world stopped, as we all know. And one of the first things to go here was the spring game, and that's when you realize that, I don't know that anybody even thought then that there'd be significant delays, but you did know that the chance of football not being played was real at that point when those steps were being taken and people weren't even allowed to practice. So I think it's, we went through some interesting spells there in August and September where it looked like it wasn't going to happen, and now they found a way. And I think that, as you said off the top there, Justin, thank goodness they did, that we can all enjoy a little bit of normalcy, even if it's going to be very different than other years.
You talk about how it's going to be different. On Saturday, noon kickoff, Nebraska, little to no fans. I think it's like limited capacity with like a family of players, correct? What set the scene? What's it going to look like when fans tune into the game on Saturday? What is this game going to look like and sound like? No band either.
Yeah, no band, no cheerleaders, no Brutus. It's around 1,000 family and friends, primarily family, I guess, of players and coaching staff for both sides. I don't know. I think the exact breakdown somewhere around 600 for Ohio State, 400 for visitors. And then, the press box will be a pretty much ghost town. I know that doesn't show up on TV, but that's just a reminder that, someone like me or you, we're not exempt from this situation. There's only going to be 40 members of the media in attendance, and all of the press conferences will be on Zoom, and the sound will be obviously completely different. They had to put in rules for what kind of ambient sound and celebratory sound you can blast over the speakers. And having been in the Horseshoe a couple of weeks ago for a practice where Ohio State was testing that out, it echoes because of the way the acoustics in that stadium, and it's a wild, weird scene, and I think it's going to take some getting used to for everybody. And I know that I think it stings, fans in the Big Ten to watch some of these other games elsewhere where there's, 20, 30,000 fans in the stadium. And Gene Smith thought that Ohio State was prepared, to get that many in the Horseshoe. But, the Big Ten is trying to level the playing field, and not every state is allowing fans to attend right now. So that's the situation we're going to be in. And that's, it's going to be strange on Saturday at noon.
Now, is there, and I don't know if you touched on, I think you mentioned this, I'm not sure, I can't remember now, but is there something in the works of potentially seeing fans throughout the season? Is that being discussed behind closed doors right now? Is there something being worked out? The last I read on that was that, of course, Kevin Warren, commissioner of the Big Ten, it needed to be, a unanimous decision across the board. Every stadium needed to look the same, which is obviously difficult when you have a pandemic that's impacting the country differently in states across the country.
Yeah, I asked Gene Smith about that earlier this week, and that's when he mentioned the fact that they had a plan in place with pods, and given the size of the horseshoe, where they felt get 20,000 people into the stadium comfortably. But the Big Ten is not allowing individual institutions to go on a case-by-case basis and do that. So as long as, I think the example he used was Wisconsin is not allowed, to have any fans, even including family or friends. So that's even not that's the only real exception when you look from campus to campus right now is Ohio State and several others are allowing that. And I don't believe that unless I was being misled there, that the Badgers could, have anyone at all in their stadium. So that's sort of the point is that, state and local guidelines in those areas are going to dictate what they can do. And until everyone has the ability to bring in more fans, then none of the schools will be able to.
Austin, what's in the water at Ohio State where players like Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis, first-round picks, are coming back to college to play for free? What's in the water up there? What are they telling these guys?
Well, it's I know it's a cliche, and every school likes to, talk about this, but clearly, the culture is different in Ohio State, and what makes it different? Well, you can see how much it meant to Shaun Wade and Wyatt Davis when they could have been, starting to collect some checks from agents and preparing for the draft instead of going through, today would be practice 41 for Ohio State without having played a game, since August, and with a little break in there, obviously. They could have missed all of that in the grind and dealing with daily testing and everything else, but the chance to compete at a high level, to get developed into a top draft pick, compete for championships, and knowing sort of what that means for your short-term career and your long-term legacy at a program where, that can change your life forever to be a national champion. You could just ask, somebody like Cardale Jones what that's meant for him, no matter what happened after he was done playing in Columbus in that 14th season. It changes people's lives. And I don't think that when you're talking about, Wade or Wyatt Davis or Josh Myers coming back last year, Justin Fields not even considering an opt-out, I could go through the list, but those guys wanted to wait and maximize and make sure they get every opportunity where they could play this year before moving on. And, the Wade and Davis cases certainly got more interesting because it seemed to be trending away from giving them an opportunity to play in the college football playoff, which is something that means so much to them. And they want to be around that brotherhood. And, I've been places where you hear that and you kind of laugh and roll your eyes. But, when you're around here, you can see it up close because there's a lot of visual evidence about just how much it means to them.
Now, obviously, Shaun Wade has one cornerback spot locked down. We've heard the names, Sevyn Banks, Cam Brown, Tariq Johnson. We know the names, but who has the game to have that other cornerback spot locked down?
Yeah, I think this will be a situation like Kerry Combs used to, roll through those three guys. I think you'll see a lot of Sevyn Banks and Cameron Brown. And I would bet that the snap count between those three guys, including Shaun Wade, will be pretty even, just the way that it once was, with guys like Garyon Conley and Marshawn Lattimore and Denzel Ward. Banks and Cameron Brown have, only had a couple limited chances to really show what they can do. Cameron Brown, maybe more than Sevyn Banks last year, but those two guys are about to become fixtures on draft boards. They have all the athleticism, body type, technique, and then solid coaching that those guys that have come before have had. And I don't think that there will be any second guessing at all for Kerry Combs to put them on the field and rotate through on those outside spots. And then Marcus Williamson, looks like a guy that's is 4-star, just kind of waiting his time in the program, hadn't really connected for him, and then he's going to be out spot as sort of a fourth man out there. He could slide outside, but he's going to be in that slot, I think, primarily. So this this cornerback situation, it's insane to think about the run they've had with the draft picks, and it's locked up still now for 3 or 4 more years to go into the foreseeable future. Like it's truly remarkable the level they've recruited and the way that they've developed that talent once it's arrived.
Austin Moore, Letterman Row with us here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Austin, Justin Fields is a player that obviously, one of the top names in college football, not just Buckeye fans looking forward to seeing him. The world of college football can't wait to lay eyes on him as well coming up on Saturday. This has been an interesting offseason for him. He has stuck by Ohio State's side the entire time, and just that leadership right there is one reason why you could just tell this locker room is just, wrapped around him. What kind of year do you expect him to have outside of just saying a good one? What differences do you see in his game this year that we should expect to see that he's built on from what he did last year?
Well, I think that he had a Heisman winning, not just finalist worthy season last year, and you can't ever really say that it would surprise it for someone not to win the Heisman because it's such a difficult award to win and it only goes to one of them. And then his main competitions had a little bit of a statistical head start, but Justin Fields to me is the best player in college football, and I expect that he will prove that over the next 9 games. I think that he has a fantastic shot of winning the Heisman Trophy. I think that he can become the number 1 draft pick. When you're looking at his game, I think Ryan Day's never had this before, which is kind of hard to believe as well with a quarterback, starting for 2 years in his system and the familiarity that you get with the playbook, and those two. Teaming up with the way they see the game and Fields with his athleticism and the weapons he has, it's just the sky's the limit. It would have been I wish that we could see exactly what he could have done in a full season with some stat padding games outside of the league knocked in to see what school records he could challenge. But I think that the part with that familiarity with the offense where he takes the next step, if there was one thing that he didn't do maybe at an elite level, still very good, was sometimes he would hold the football too long and maybe not get through as many reads as he could potentially get through now. I think that led to some of the sacks that he took last year that weren't necessarily on the fault of the offensive line. Again, that's nitpicking because he was just about everything you could possibly hope for at the quarterback spot last year. But that's probably an area where I would look at where you get smarter, you see things faster, you understand the concepts better. And then you take that and translate in with another year to develop physically, and some scary things can happen.
We can't talk about Justin Fields without talking about the weapons. What is this wide receiver rotation going to look like? Because, Olave, Wilson, the freshman, Fleming, Scott, we got an older guy in Jalen Harris. Like, there's a ton of weapons for him to throw the ball to. What is that rotation going to look like? Yeah, pretty similar. I think Ohio State and Brian Hartline have gotten really pleased with the way that 6-man group will work out. Ohio State's hoping that Cameron Babb can stay healthy. He just hasn't been able to do that, even dating back to high school with the knee injuries. But when he's been able to do his thing, people that have seen him play just rave about the athleticism and his knowledge of the game. So we'll see if he can crack into that mix. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think, is the one to really watch for those freshmen. All of them are going to play. And then Julian Fleming, we know just about the off-the-charts athleticism, the number 1 wide receiver recruit in the country. But look at what Jackson Smith and Jigba did, and I think you'll see him and Garrett Wilson both playing out of the slot, which is going to create so many problems for defensive coordinators. I don't know what you're going to do there because you're going to leave Jamison Williams and Chris Olave in coverage out there on the outside, and then a safety or a nickel. God forbid a defense gets stuck with a linebacker trying to defend Garrett Wilson or Jackson Smith and Jigba, because that will not end well for them. It's the way that Ryan Day and Kevin Wilson and Brian Hartline have amassed this talent and the creativity that they have with offensive game plans and creating mismatches, and then pairing that with Justin Fields. It's like it's a Death Star passing attack, man. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Austin, last thing, and we'll let you go, but I'm curious your thoughts on this. Obviously, Master T got the season started on time. We don't know what his role would have been early on in the season. If there's a silver lining to the season being pushed back, is that you're going to have him ready to go. I am curious your thoughts on if Master Teague never got injured, would Ohio State have pushed as hard as they did to get Trey Sermon? And with that being said, is the silver lining that, hey, they were expecting to only have Trey Sermon be the featured back with Master Teague out, and now they have both of these guys healthy? I don't think that this staff anticipated both of these guys being healthy healthy and ready to go when the season started. That is the case now. What was already a potent offense now has two dominant backs. I mean, this could be really interesting too as far as the run game is concerned.
Yeah, it's that position has been entertaining to watch, I guess, over the last 10 months. There's been a lot going on there. The potential for Trey Sermon to leave Oklahoma and come to Ohio State, that was a possibility and being talked about or whispered about before Master Teague was injured. I think that would have happened no matter what, but it did, to your point, you raised there that enhanced the urgency, and I think that made Ohio State even more appealing than it already was to Trey Sermon when he was looking for that next spot. I think, look, Master Teague, with or without the injury, he's a man who had a lot to prove. Those last 4 games for him, and especially in the second half against Clemson, when he had to go up there, I think it was 9 yards on 7 carries, and over the last 4 games when you expanded it, I think it was around 51 yards on 17 carries or so, something in that ballpark. He was not the same guy against the elite competition that he was earlier in the year, and that's fair. That doesn't mean that he had to be. It was just his second year in the program, and everybody develops at their own pace. But I think that was a wake-up call maybe for Master Teague about what it was going to take to get that next level and to do the things that J.K. Dobbins or Ezekiel Elliott or Carlos Hyde or whoever else had done for this Ohio State offense. He wasn't ready for that role yet. So, again, getting 6 or 7 extra weeks when you're coming off an Achilles tear is a big deal. I'm in the camp where it's wait and see, because that is such a difficult injury to have, especially at the position he plays. Can he go out there and make the cuts? Does he have the confidence? Is the speed there? Tuff Borland 2 years ago had this same injury, and he rushed back, and you could tell he was never fully back to the level that he wanted to be. So we'll see. He's a guy that I think just has a lot to prove in a lot of different ways.
Austin, answer this quick on your way out. If we saw Florida LSU have to push a game back, they have weeks to do that. If this happens to Ohio State, whether it's an outbreak on their roster or not, how's the Big Ten going to handle that?
Well, they need the college football playoff to help them out, because they didn't leave themselves any wiggle room. I think if more cancellations across the country pop up, the group that can help them most is the college football playoff, again, which that draws on all the leagues. And they don't seem to want to help each other.
Yes, that's right.
Summer, but they're gonna need to. Like, if the SEC is starting to have problems like what you just talked about, the easiest way to give everyone a chance to play as many games as possible is to move the playoff back. You don't have to do it far, but 1 or 2 weeks would certainly help. I don't know what the likelihood of that actually happening is, Justin, but that would certainly help everybody.
All right, good stuff. Austin Ward, Letterman Row, awesome enough to hang out with us here as we get set for Ohio State and Nebraska kicking off finally this Saturday at noon, 10:30, the pregame right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio. Austin, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week, and enjoy Saturday, would you?
Will do. Thanks for having me, man.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 78. Tonight will also be partly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low around 42. And tomorrow is going to be mainly clear with a high near 52. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
Try Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill for a fast-acting relief of honey lemon, not to mention a soothing chill. So remember, Vicks VapoCool Drops are honey lemon and honey lemon. Yeah, Honey Lemon Chill. Get fast-acting relief with Vicks VapoCool Drops in Honey Lemon Chill. Use as directed.
O'Reilly.
When you need auto parts, O'ReillyAuto.com is just a few clicks away. We offer convenient options for you to get your parts quickly. Order online and pick up for free at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. We'll even bring it out curbside. Or you can have your parts delivered right to your door with free shipping on most orders over $35. Visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Making it easier for you to get the frickin' chicken. Remember Frickers.com. That puts you in touch with everything you crave. Frickin' chicken wings, burgers, ribs, salads, wraps, everything you crave. Should you crave an ice-cold domestic draft beer? Join us and dine in. We have a 48-ounce personal pitcher for only $6. Dine in, carry out, delivery, and now order online at Frickers.com. The home for fun, food, sports, and spirits is the home to order online at Frickers.com.
Hey, it's Justin Kinner from The Justin Kinner Show, and I wanted to take some time to tell you about my great experiences with CertaPro Painters. That's right, my experiences, as in more than one. I have had CertaPro Painters complete quite a few painting projects for me over the years, and every time they knock it out of the park, whether it was the Ohio State-themed office with the Buckeye stripe wrapped around the room, or when they painted my entire house before move-in day, I could not believe that they knocked out our entire house in just one day. CertaPro Painters knows how to get the job done right, and most importantly, safely during these times. They deliver what they promise. They show up on time, they get the job done right and on budget. Whether it is residential or commercial, interior or exterior, CertaPro Painters will take care of you from the first initial free estimate all the way up to the final brush of paint on your project. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. They are a local business that you can support. Schedule your free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring for brand new home daily dedicated lanes. Earn up to $1,620 per week. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, vision, company paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Don't let your dental benefits go to waste. Most insurance benefits roll over in January, and what you don't use, you lose. Now is the time to make an appointment to maximize your insurance. Give Champagne Dental Group in Urbana a call at 937-653-8650 to get scheduled today, or visit online at champagnedentalgroup.org.
Champagne Dental, taking the fear out of dentistry.
Hi, Joey Beckett here at Buckeye Ford in Sydney, home of the Works package and the Double Take Tire specials. Call today for your appointment, 937-419-8473 or 1-800-700-0050. Buckeye Ford in Sydney, exit 92 off of I-75. We'll see you soon.
With United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans, there's so much to take advantage of, like $0 copays on primary care doctor visits and lab tests.
Wow.
Plus $0 copays on virtual visits.
Wow.
It's time to take advantage.
Wow.
To learn more, visit AdvantageWow.com. That's AdvantageWow.com.
Benefits vary by plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Wow. Lowe's has a brand new flooring showroom filled with all types of floors. Scratch-resistant floors for toddlers and their toys. Easy-to-clean carpets for canines. Stain-resistant floors for scrumptious suppers. Even floors for yogis finding out how flexible they are. There's floors for all. And they're all at Lowe's. Book now and have yours installed by the holidays. Install available, in-store only. Holiday install applies to basic install and subject to date restrictions, installer, and product availability. See Lowe's.com for details and licensing. Contiguous U.S. only.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Buckeye fans, it's finally game week. Join us this Saturday on 1410 ESPN Radio as the Ohio State Buckeyes welcome in Nebraska. Pre-game starts at 10:30 with kickoff at noon. Every big hit, every touchdown, every Buckeye victory. Don't miss a second of the action all season long on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
Back to the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kittle, Kev Nash with you here. Austin Ward with Letterman Row. Again, does a great job covering the Ohio State Buckeyes. Got a chance to catch up and talk with him. A lot of interesting things there. Again, talking about Trey Sermon and the run game and the addition to Trey Sermon. Keep in mind, when they added Trey Sermon in the offseason, yes, it was because they had a shot to, add another explosive weapon at the running back position, a position that Ohio State has just been buried in riches in for quite some time. But they also went hard after Trey Sermon because, especially with how they got bailed out in this situation, looking at the fact that Master Teague was going to miss some significant time had the season started on time due to his injury. Now he's had all that extra time to heal up and get to this point in tomorrow's game 1 of the 2020 season for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now you have Master Teague and Trey Sermon. I know Ohio State was pursuing Trey Sermon even before the Master Teague injury, but keep in mind, it didn't mean necessarily that Trey Sermon would have actually picked Ohio State. He could have potentially gone elsewhere where he would have got the majority of the carries, which doesn't mean that that's not going to be the case now. But I do think that what led to the closing of the deal to get Trey Sermon to come to Columbus is the fact that, Master Teague was going to be out. They were basically saying, hey, the carries are yours, my friend. But regardless, Ohio State deep at running back, deep at receiver, offensive line, arguably the best in football. And it's going to be interesting as far as that's concerned. And as good as Justin Fields was in year 1 for the Buckeyes, year 1 after transferring from Georgia, having to learn a whole new system, being, the quarterback for Ryan Day and Ryan Day's very first full season as head coach of the Buckeyes, there were so many potential roadblocks that could have been put up and kept Justin Fields from developing. It could have kept Ohio State from thriving offensively. And they looked like they look like a group that had been and played together for years. And you got to credit Ryan Day and the staff for whatever they did in that offseason to get them all to buy in and grouping together. Yeah. Like, that speaks volumes about the way that the Ryan Day and his coaching staff was able to get everyone on board last year in a short amount of time. Now you've had a complete wonky offseason, but you could argue it might benefit the Big Ten and Ohio State because, as you talked about, it's day 43 or 46. I can't remember. I heard him say it during the interview. 40-something days of straight of practices. Yeah. Clearly, you want to get out on the field and play games and play a different opponent than the guys across from you every day in practice. But we shouldn't see this team look as rusty as other teams did to start their season. They're a month and a half in. This may be only week 1 for Ohio State, but it's not like this is the first time they've picked up a football. They should be a lot more polished than what we've seen other teams look at this point.
I agree 1,000%. The excuses of, we got rushed to play isn't there like it was for like the ACC and the SEC. They've been practicing for a very long time. And not just Ohio State, every Big Ten team. Mm-hmm. Like those bonehead penalties, like the wide receivers on the line of scrimmage and 8 men in the backfield, all those procedural penalties, they shouldn't be there. Those should be buttoned down. The only type of penalties we should be seeing is holding and, late hits. The bonehead penalties should not be there. You guys been practicing longer than you would have practiced in the summertime leading up to the regular season. So the excuses about penalties from any Big Ten team is unacceptable, especially the Buckeyes. I think they're going to come out guns a-blazing. I think this is going to be one of the most potent offense in a shortened season that we've ever seen.
And again, it's really not about the opponent tomorrow. It's just about getting back out on the field. Yeah. As far as that goes. Shaw said, Justin, do you watch the Big Ten or just who the Buckeyes play? Yes, everyone on the Big Ten looks like crap against Ohio State. Yes, I watch all the teams in the Big Ten, but that's my point. That's why when Ohio State's the measuring stick.
Yes.
I'm not doing this whole elitist mentality where if you're not Ohio State, you don't matter. I've been arguing for a while that there needs to be another Ohio State in the Big Ten. Like Penn State needs to grab that and run with it. Well, Michigan, you have Harbaugh. He's one of the highest paid head coaches in college football. You should not be the third or fourth best team every single year in the Big Ten when you are the, I think, second or third highest paid coach in college football. Like, it's ridiculous. So when I say that about Ohio State, it's because Ohio State's that damn good, but it depresses me every year when I watch teams that go up against Ohio State look like they are so, like the gap is so wide that they don't even deserve to play in the same conference. Ohio State's the measuring stick. So, yes, when I mock Indiana, when I mock Iowa, and by the way, we've seen Ohio State be tripped up by those teams, but I don't think anyone believed that the year that Purdue beat Ohio State that they were truly better than Ohio State. They were better than them that night. Iowa, when they upset Ohio State, on their home field under the lights, even though it was an afternoon kick, but, in October, it's dark by the time by 5 o'clock. So, it was technically under the lights, even though it was a mid-afternoon kick. But keep in mind, no one thought Iowa was better than Ohio State. But good for those two programs for catching Ohio State on a vulnerable night. But let's be clear, they are the standard. They are who you look at the measuring stick and say, okay, where is the rest of the conference? How does the rest of the conference stack up? So when Auburn loses tight games to Alabama, when LSU and Georgia and those teams, and Georgia got blown out this past week. But when you see those teams, like when those teams barely lose to Alabama, that's good for the conference. Mm-hmm. What's not good for the conference is if Ohio State blows out Penn State by 24 plus points coming up next week. Right. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a double-edged sword. If you're Ohio State and you kick Penn State's ass, it's like, oh yeah, we are for real. We deserve, but then it hurts you too, because then it almost hurts the credibility of your conference when the second best team in your conference just gets obliterated like that. It's like, well, if that's the second best team and the gap between you and the best team is this, then what's that say about everyone else behind them? That's not really a hot take of mine. I think that's common sense. So I think although the Big Ten is respectable, they always have the most top 25 teams. I've always said this, that the Big Ten is the deepest conference in college football, but the best conference in college football is the SEC. I don't think that's controversial. I'm not saying that to have this hot take. The Big Ten is deep as far as how many top 25 teams, solid programs. I think they're deeper from top to bottom. But the SEC, they have the most championship contenders on a year-in, year-out basis. And they also have the most teams. That the other side of it that we don't talk enough about is the recruiting aspect. They have more teams going after the same type of players. Ohio State's not battling with Iowa and Purdue and Maryland and Rutgers. All right. They're not battling Indiana. They're not battling half their conference for players. The SEC, every single one of those coaches is sitting in the living rooms of the same type of level of players. Do you agree?
Outlier calf time.
Oh, here we go.
Rondale Moore.
SEC is better and deeper. Okay.
I'll just Rondale Moore. He was supposed to go to Ohio State. It was like down to Ohio State, Bama. And
no.
I know that's why I said outlier calf. That's why I said outlier calf.
Those teams always, like, you'll look at those rosters, they'll sneak in a couple here and there, but you can't bring 2 or 3 5-stars to a 12 4 or 5-star battle.
Right.
And Ohio State is that, that bad. I mean, when you look at it, and again, there's not that many 5-stars. Like, there's not that many in the world.
That's why they let that one 5-star beat them by themselves. You were there.
Yeah, exactly. But you see my point. The point is that, yes, there's going to be talent that's sprinkled in throughout. But ultimately, when you look at the SEC, you have the top 4 or 5 coaches sitting in the same living rooms of the same players every single week.
Out, yeah.
And Ohio State, I promise you, do you think Braum is crossing paths with Ryan Day on the recruiting trail often? If not ever? No. So again, not a hot take, not me taking a shot. I think that's common sense as far as that's concerned. I do think that, like, when we talk about those signing days, a lot of people say, who cares about National Signing Day? We won't know if they're legit until 3 or 4 years from now. But that's not necessarily true. I believe that those National Signing Days impact the perception of programs when we are looking at engaging what is a good loss and a bad loss. If a team like Alabama and Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, if they get upset by a team, the reason we don't penalize them as much as we would others is because it's like, well, they had an off day, but clearly the talent on this roster surpasses anything. What you can't do is what Ohio State did, Kev, and you can't lose by 30. If Ohio State loses to Iowa by 3, they're in the college football playoff that year. If Ohio State loses to Purdue by 3 that year, they're still in the college football playoff that year. You are allowed to have an off night.
Right.
But you are not allowed to have you're not even going to show up and play type of night. Right. And that's unfortunately what happened those 2 games. That's why when people do the whole, Alabama gets bailed out when they lose and this team gets bailed, look at how they lost versus look at how Ohio State lost.
Takes, air ball field goal getting returned 100+ yards for a touchdown for Alabama to lose.
Yep.
I think it comes down to the same thing I've been talking about with Penn State for the longest. Not only do they end up losing to Ohio State, but they lose those other games. So if you look back at the last 4 matchups between Penn State and Ohio State last year, 28-17, an 11-point victory for Ohio State.
Blowout. I'll just admit I was wrong on that. But that game did feel like, keep in mind, Penn State was up late. I don't know why I thought that they just blew the doors off of Penn State last year. That was maybe the previous year. What was the score the year before?
Previous year.
That was Ryan Day when he was the interim coach, correct?
27-26 Ohio State.
That's when they lost Bosa.
Yes, that's the tunnel screen to KJ Hill.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, Nick Bosa is living with Joey Bosa again. It was like deja vu. So funny.
Told you.
So remember all the stuff I read. So like he's hurt. He's out for the Niners, and he literally left his wherever he lives in with the Niners, and he's moved in with his brother.
What
Joey
did I tell you was gonna happen, man?
What a wuss. What a wuss.
And then the year before that, 39-38 Ohio State over Penn State. That was the game that JT went completely Joe Montana. And then they lost to Iowa the next week. And then the year before that, 24-21, Penn State beat Ohio State. So Penn State,
and that year they won. That was like they were considered a dumpster fire. That's the year they won the Big Ten title. Yeah. Ohio State ends up making the playoff.
The block field goal gets returned because Herb didn't call the timeout, everything like that. So,
my head.
So it is Penn State. Penn State is the team that can rival Ohio State. Has has not only the players, but it also has like the scores. Like these scores, I mean, nobody wants to lose. Let's be clear about that. But like if you pull up Ohio State's numbers versus everybody else, they're blowouts. These are clearly not blowouts. These games are down to the wire. I mean, there's 2 1-point victories in there. There's a 3-point victory in there for Penn State, and there's an 11-point victory in there for Ohio State. Like these games are down to the wire. As a football fan, strictly as a football fan, not an Ohio State fan, I'm hoping to get a matchup like this because you talk about this all the time, but like that pit in your stomach, the nervous energy that you had prior to the Clemson game and everything like that, you only get those for those games.
Yep.
But clearly, these Penn State games should be giving you those emotions.
But then what you'll get is, man, Ohio State just didn't play that great, as opposed to they just played a really good team that you're not able to push Penn State around the way you do others.
But that's because you respond to everybody on social media.
That has nothing to do. No, but that's because that's my opinion and people don't like it. So those are who I'm responding with as far as that's concerned. I think the other thing about Penn State, too, is the reason that I think the games always feel like bigger losses for them than what they are is because they find stupid ways to lose.
Yeah.
They had those fumbles, as you talked about. But then the game against JT Barrett, like we literally for a very short amount of time talked about JT Barrett as a Heisman candidate after he led that comeback against Penn State.
7 days later, pick 6.
Back then, that's when we were doing the Sunday morning show, or I had my Sunday morning show. Was the Sunday morning, and Keith Byers and I were doing the show together, and we had Eddie George on that next morning with us. And I'll never forget that interview because Eddie George is talking about JT Barrett is a Heisman candidate with that performance last night. But that was the last that we talked about JT Barrett as a Heisman candidate moving forward.
Yeah, that Iowa game did him in.
Yep, that'll do it. That'll do it. Hey, let's go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals. We'll do that when we come back. 3 reasons why the Browns will win, 3 reasons why they'll lose. And I'll find maybe a reason or 2 why the Bengals could potentially win, but I have a lot of reasons why the Bengals are going to lose, baby. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you been to Burlington lately? They have incredible deals on amazing brands and styles at up to 60% off other retailers' prices. No coupons or sales, just fabulous values every single day. It's a treasure hunt with new bargains always arriving and savings that'll surprise you. At Burlington, you get more for less, from seasonal style to cozying up your home. This is your one-stop shop for fall. Go to burlington.com to find your store. Burlington, love the deals.
Introducing Canada Dry Bold Ginger. It's not your grandma's ginger ale. I know because I'm not your grandma. I don't pressure you to get married. I say play the field all you want. And I drink new Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that would blow the bingo cards out your grandma's bag. I drink it while watching backyard wrestling. There's more on the line when the wrestlers don't have insurance. New Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
For DIY projects, you know the Home Depot's always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand with digital tools like image search. Snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
T-Mobile for Business knows saving time and money is important for your business. That's why we're introducing Microsoft 365 on us, now included in our best business plans. With Office apps, Microsoft Teams, cloud storage, and more, Microsoft 365 on us gives you the tools you need to run your business. Stop by a T-Mobile store today. Qualifying plan required. Contactless to activate. 1 license per line, max 2 per account. Third-party terms apply. See T-Mobile.com for plan details.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
If you missed a turn, there's always another turn. Take it to get back to the turn you missed.
Use your turn signal.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The great thing about facts, they're proven. Like the fact that crude oil contains impurities, or that base oil made from natural gas is 99.5% free of impurities. And the fact that Pennzoil is the first synthetic motor oil made from natural gas, not crude oil. It gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof is in the Pennzoil. Based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. Ask for it at Advanced Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations.
Hi, my name is James, and I'm voting for LaRonda Jackson for state representative because I have experienced her dedication to my family and to our community. LaRonda Jackson will listen to your concerns and bridge the gap between your house and the state house. LaRonda Jackson does the heavy lifting, and she will fight for livable wages and our children's education. That is who I want representing me at the state house. LaRonda Jackson stands for unity, vision, and values. Join me and vote for LaRonda Jackson.
Paid for by Friends of LaRonda Jackson.
Roosters would like to thank all of our loyal guests and all the loyal Buckeye fans for your support this year. Because of you, we've been able to stay open and keep our award-winning team employed. Our team members go above and beyond and are dedicated to providing you and your family the safest dining experience possible while still providing a fun, casual atmosphere to relax, laugh, and enjoy our award-winning food. Roosters, the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
My husband, Alex Hussey, was hit by an IED in Afghanistan.
I was playing man on foot patrol and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
DAV helps veterans of every generation to get the benefits they've earned.
To see Alex learning to snow ski, that's life-changing.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
This has meant so much. Thank you, DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor.
Half man, half motorcycle.
To find your balance, keep riding. And if you stop, put your feet down.
Progressive Motorcycle also presents Roadside Assistance. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Sponsored by Labyrinth Labs.
Men, are you tired of those daily blue enhancement pills that take days, weeks, or months to work, if they ever work at all? Listen up. Now you can take Red, the new natural male empowerment pill that works on demand. Even your partner will notice the difference the very first time you use it. To prove Red won't disappoint like the others, you're invited to participate in our nationwide I Take Red Partner Reaction Guarantee Trial. We're seeking participants for this nationwide trial, not only to prove it works the very first time you try it. We guarantee your partner will also notice the difference. Forget those slow-acting blue pills and join those who proudly take Red. Over 50,000 pills have already been claimed and supplies are limited. So to ensure your participation in this free nationwide trial, you must call now.
Superior virility on demand. You only need to take Red once to see what all the fuss is about. Call immediately to participate in our free nationwide trial. Call 1-800-718-3112. 1-800-718-3112. Be one of thousands to proudly say, I take Red. 1-800-718-3112.
Try Canada Dry Bold Ginger with an extra kick of real ginger taste that blow the butterscotch out of your grandma's bowl. Canada Dry Bold Ginger, not your grandma's ginger ale.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. And, man, this is horrible news. And this just sucks for the kids involved in this. Northmont is one of the best high school football teams in the state. They have enough talent to compete for a state championship. They had a huge game tonight scheduled with Springfield. And we knew the risks involved. And again, it's very cutthroat to the decision-making of the OHSAA, but they did everything they could to position this playoff for happening and having a season during COVID. All the way back in March and April and May, I was adamant that there would be no high school football season. Technically, if things were normal, this would be week 9 of the OHSAA high school football season right now. And although it's week 9, it's technically week 3 of the OHSAA state playoffs. And Northmont and Springfield were set to go head-to-head tonight. Keaton Kessling, one of the most impressive quarterbacks in the high school ranks in this area, going up against Tayshawn Smoot. It was supposed to be one of the matchups of the week, of the weekend, of the week 3 for the playoffs. And I'm so bummed due to it. And this is coming from Northmont Athletics Department on Twitter. Due to a positive test on the team, along with contract tracing and quarantine protocols, tonight's playoff football game will not be played. Northmont will not advance in the state playoffs. We appreciate the support of of Thunderbolt Nation during this amazing season. There are not words that I can say to say how sorry I am for these kids. It's happened to other teams. It happened to Troy. Yep. It happened to Fairborn, and I'm sure it's happened to others, and I apologize if I don't have that right off the top of my head. But Fairborn and Troy are teams that I know recently had to experience that. And I'm not saying it wasn't important for them, though. You know, every experience is great in the playoffs, but this one's really disappointing. Especially, Dayton Flyers fans can relate when you have a team that's very, very special and you are on the verge of having a shot to let that talent shine. That was Northmont, in a high school football comparison here. And that's just been taken away. They will not get a shot to make this game up. And I don't blame the OHSAA. No one can blame them. We can't be mad at them. I mean, it was one of those where the OHSAA did everything they could to position this season to allow there to even be football. And the fact that we're at this point and we haven't had that many teams have to cancel games due to it, I think that's a win in itself. This is just a big loss. It's unfortunate. I don't know there's nothing I can apologize for, but it's just, I feel sorry. I feel miserable for those kids as far as that goes. And Springfield's a hell of a football team too. And that was going to be one heck of a matchup tonight. Keith Byers and I were calling the Trotwood and Alter game. And by the way, follow the TKDS Sports Network. Him and I are doing the games on that. TKDS Sports Network. Go look it up on Facebook again. You'll be able to watch that game tonight. I'm excited to see CJ Hicks, future Buckeye. I cannot wait to watch him, actually. I watched Trotwood last week. They beat Dayton Carroll. Man, Hudson Davis, their star running back, he's unbelievable, only a sophomore. So lots of really good games in the area tonight. Again, I just feel very sorry for Northmont. Shout out to their players, families, everyone that, looking forward to tonight, Friday. And I don't know when they found out, but this is just coming out about a half hour ago. There's bad storms in the area too, and that's not even what knocked them out, man. I feel horrible. I really do.
It's very disappointing. I know Izzy, his son, one of my good buddies, Izzy, he has a podcast in Dayton. His son plays for Northmont, and I could only imagine, what the seniors are going through right now. And you also feel bad for Springfield as well. They practiced all week to get ready for this game. This was a 5-star matchup. This is the matchup that people wanted to see. And it had been circled on their calendars. And, now this matchup isn't going to happen at all. And, just another reason that we can talk about the Rona just ruining things. It's ruined so many things, and now it's ruining high school football. Not only the season being short, but now your season comes to an end and you don't even get a chance to play. You didn't lose to somebody. You lost to the Rona. and the Rona is out here winning. And we don't want it to win.
I ain't going to give it that much credit. It's not winning. There's so many great games going on. They're just a casualty, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I ain't going to give Rona that much credit. It has not. We have played high school football, and these high school. I'm telling you what, the athletic directors that I've come across and the jobs that they have done to allow these games to go on each week, they have kicked ass. I don't mean to talk about high school, anything related to high school and swearing at the same time, but I am Justin Kinner, and that's I'm not the most intelligent when it comes to that, but they kicked ass, man. And there's still plenty more games to go. And this is no one's fault. Like what you talked about all the time in the college ranks, just because a player catches it doesn't mean that they were doing something wrong. Northmont didn't lose tonight because, hey, they broke, no one broke any rules. So I feel horrible, man. The talent on that roster, Keaton Kessling, he threw for just under 3,000 yards on the season. Again, only a shortened season instead of your 10-week season. It was only 6. It was GWalk only. It was supposed to be Keaton Kessling versus Tayshawn Smoot from Springfield, who threw for 2,400 yards. I talked about getting to see CJ Hicks, future Buckeye from Ulster tonight. Marcus Allen for Northmont, the receiver. He had committed to Michigan. He decommitted. And Ohio State's looked at him. A lot of good teams have looked at him. I don't know where he could end up. But that's another kid that his season just came abruptly to an end. Now, keep in mind, when we've seen teams do it, Centerville's done this. When you lose in the playoffs, you're allowed to play up to 10 games. Right. I think you're allowed to play 10 within the window of what the regular season was supposed to be. Yeah. So I think Northmont could technically play next week if they wanted. Centerville has continued playing. After Keith Byers and I, we called the Centerville Wayne game in the playoffs a few weeks ago for TKDS Sports. And when Centerville was knocked out, we're talking like, oh man, they've had a great season. It's going to be fun to see them next year. And then 7 days later, they're right back out on the field. So it's been a weird, wonky type of year, obviously, but good for the players and coaches who have said, this sucks, but we're going to keep fighting. I don't know if Northmont will play another game, but shout out to the careers of Marcus Allen from Northmont, and wherever he goes, best of luck to him. So much talent on both sides of the ball, as far as that's concerned. But yeah. So I'm going to give some defensive guys a shout out too. Rod Moore leads the team in interceptions on Northmont. Like they have some good defensive guys too. As far shout out to that. I feel bad. I really do. Now we were supposed to go 3 and out with the Browns and Bengals, but we're out of time for this hour. We'll try and get into that coming up later on in the show. I will say this though, the Browns. I'm going to give you one of my reasons why the Browns win. Okay. Coming up on Sunday.
And I'll give you one of the reasons they'll lose.
Fair. I think they win Sunday mainly because, look, I know everyone's infatuated with Joe Burrow, but keep in mind they don't have Joe Mixon. Their offensive line, I think you've heard this before, but they're not that good. And right now, if you look at Joe Burrow, right now he has a QBR of 49.8. That's one of the worst in the league. All right. He is 20th in completion percentage. All right, he's been sacked 24 times. He's thrown an interception in 3 straight games. Joe Burrow's been reeling a little bit. Maybe not all his fault, but the point is that the Browns are going to be angry coming in Sunday. Actually, they're going to be upset. They're fired up. They're ready to go. They want to get that taste of the Pittsburgh game out of their mouth. They are going to send the dogs on Joe Burrow. Again, Joe Burrow, an interception in 3 straight games. Completion percentage, he's 20th in completion percentage. It's not good. QBR, 49.8. Oofa. I know everyone's all beating up on Baker Mayfield, but keep in mind, it's not like you have Tom Brady 2.0 in Cincinnati over here. He's not playing well either. So I think with Joe Burrow not playing well, they give up a 21-point lead. You can blame the defense all you want, but Joe Burrow and the offense quit last week. How do you go up 21-0 and just put up nothing the rest of the? Come on. You can't blame the defense all you want, but if you come out firing like that, you mean to tell me you're not good enough to come back and to at least put another touchdown or another field goal up in the book? No. That's on the offense. The defense is bad, we know that. But the offense, give me a break. You can't put 21 points up early and be, pumping your chest and then have that. 20th in the league in completion percentage. QBR at 49.8. An interception in 3 straight games. He's reeling, man. 24. He's been sacked 24 times. And you saw what the Steelers did to the Browns last week. They still got 2 with the Steelers. They got another one with the Ravens, who just went out and got Ngakoue. They have one of the best pass rushers in football. Man, it's going to be a long year coming up. And it's going to be a long day coming up on Sunday. I don't know how the Browns offense is going to look. I think their confidence is shot, but I tell you right now, their defense is they're ready to get their hands on somebody. They're going to be picturing Joe Burrow as Ben Roethlisberger. They're going to go after him. And the difference between Ben Roethlisberger and Joe Burrow, other than talent, is that they could actually get their hands on Joe Burrow because that offensive line is nothing like the Steelers. So that's why the Browns win on Sunday.
Reason why the Bengals will win, bad Baker. Or is Baker scared?
If they were playing anyone else but the Bengals, I'd give you that.
Is he scared to get hit? Them riblets.
Oh, yeah, an injury. He's toughing it out.
Oh, he's toughing it out.
Yeah, he's toughing it out. It's not like A.J. Green, unless he pulls an A.J. Green and sits out for a year and a half.
I mean, him sitting down may help you out. May put Keenum in.
Like, yeah, I told you, I don't know what Case Keenum does to make the Browns better. I'm just saying. I tried, Bengals fans. I tried. You did, and you let down. Doug Tovey said, "Get him, Kev." I don't know, Doug. I don't know if you lived up to the hype.
I'm trying here,
but man, sacked 24 times. He's thrown an interception in 3 straight games. He's 20th in completion percentage. Has a QBR of 49.8. And Joe Burrow going to beat the Bengals? No, or beat the Browns? Well, he's going to beat the Bengals. He's going to throw 2 interceptions on Sunday. He's going to be sacked 4 times. And Baker Mayfield, I'm calling it now, he's going to have his first 300-yard performance of the season. 300-yard performance, his first 300-yard performance of the season.
You know we record these, right?
That's fine. And he'll have the soundbite ready to go for Monday. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. We'll see. Charles Tackett says, you ever played a sport with a rib injury? Probably not. I don't know who you're asking, me or Kev.
No, I've never cracked a rib. No.
So you don't know. So be quiet unless you know. You can't speak on what it's like to play with a rib injury.
He said he's in pain. He said he couldn't sleep.
He's tough. He's tough.
Texas tough.
I don't see how tough Burrow is. Let's see. Couldn't even beat out Dwayne Haskins. He only had 1 good year in college. Did I mention 3 straight games with interception, QBR 49.8, 20th in completion percentage, been sacked 24 times, gives up his offense. Him and his offense just quit last week and allowed the Colts to come back from 21-0. Yeah, the Browns had a bad week, but let's stop acting like Joe Burrow's over there saving the day in Cincinnati. Hour 3 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.